black man that God cannot die. Right? And our next speaker is, probably when I pronounce it right, Merciful by, well, he came to it. He came to introduce himself.
I'm Merciful Messiah. This is a beautiful day for me because I'm no longer resident in Mecca, Geelong, and the New York City area. You know, it was like seeds. Just dropped, you understand? We just dropped all over the place. You know? And I just want to share this wisdom equality day, right? About my experience growing up in this nation, right here in New York City, and where it took me. See, because I grew up in the Nation of Islam. I grew up in the temple. My father was in the temple, my mom was in the temple. We grew up down there on 116th Street in the temple. Okay? 60-something, Minister Malcolm left. My pops was real close with Minister Malcolm, so he left out with Minister Malcolm. Mom, she just left. Ironically, when the father left. So there was a beef, a strife going on in my household as to which discipline we was going to take root with. Minister Malcolm was assassinated and put while in the town. And I remember my father going from the FOI uniform, the bars and all that stuff, you know, to the next time I seen him, he had on this dashiki with the dead and the crown. Okay, African thing. And he came to the house one day after Minister Malcolm got assassinated and told my old work, right on 136th Street, 1967, and said, D, I'm going back to school. Oh, that? You going back to college? Cool. Where you going? NYU, you know, Florida, what? Perfect. Oh, she went, you coward, punk, you I'm going to say, you know, running there with these babies. And he took off for a whole other part of the country. The next time I see this man, he got on black jacket, black glove, black tan, black glasses, black pants, black boots, all popped. You went out here in Berkeley University, man, the Huey and Bobby and them cats. You come back, you started the Bronx chapter. The Black Panther Party for self-defense on Southern Boulevard. They wiped them out, though, because they said they were going to blow up the Bronx. This was their reason for killing all of them. They were going to blow up the Bronx Botanical Garden. You see, the Bronx Botanical Garden, they want to blow up to make a political escape. But that was the era of assassination. That was the era of wiping out. That was the era of trying to crush the seeds that was sowed in the ground. But what they fail to realize is that when you plant seeds, they're going to grow. You give them a little water and become life. So we flourish and we grew. The next thing I remember growing up was being 10 years old down the Cypress Creek and being told, as my pops went to his little Black Panther headquarters down on 25th Street, he would drop me off right there on 50th Street, just opened up. Going in, and I'm looking and I'm listening, and I'm saying, it sounds like we're shining in the temple, but the transition from the Nation of Islam to the Nation of 5%, the transition of going to school, because after that they took us out of the ABCs, Islam took us out of the temple and sent us to public school. Here's 175, here's 92, right? Here's 100, 139. IS-10, all of these different schools, they said, well, we wear bow ties, ball heads. Kids are snatching bow ties off the we were told we couldn't react. The father said, no. Send them back to Mexico. I remember glad to take that bow tie off. But then we were told, just like the Muslim was told, fight. If they attack you, fight. Defend yourself. And I remember being in the backyard of the school, or being in the front door looking back, and you could look straight into the backyard and brother would look, get out of here back. Oh, wait, I don't know. Go ahead, and they told, go on in, son. I remember sitting in the fish and chip spot, or going to PS92 after school shift, going upstairs and playing basketball, they're sneaking upstairs to the bathroom, taking the chalk, crush the chalk up. Look at the lips, make it look like ash. Stand in front of the chicken and fish and chip spot. That's just like it's cold and my mother cooked pork and I'm hungry. Feed the baby. That was our hustle. That was our stand. And you know, and the herbs assistant, they come in, y'all better feed them, baby. Oh, so we get our little fish and chip dinner. That's that. But while you eating, you're gonna get taught. So the science was being passed on. Right? I remember sitting there and my man Justin Lye sitting there and he said, "See, I'm good job." I said, "Yeah. Yeah, man, first bomb black the fire." He said, "Novice seed like it. You know what a novice seed is?" I don't know. And he explained all this to me and he said, "Your name is merciful. From now on, your name will be merciful Messiah, so you'll not see like that." But he said it's not going to be M-E-S-S-I-A-H. He said that was Jesus. He was the Savior. He said now, because it's M-I-S-I-Y, it means Messiah, the revival. Revival? What? I didn't understand that. 10, 11, 12 years old. Being up in Belong. Right? Going back, what? We tore it up there. The blacksmith, everything was up there. And we went to war. Bombs, the sound, the PS, I-127, all that up there. Even Twin High School, Law Creek, teaching us the art. All of this was my growing up in the Navy. And when I left from here to walk across that bridge and get the Mitchell Project, I had to call over there and let somebody in Pelon know I was coming to Pelon. When I got to Brownsville, I had to let somebody know I was in Brownsville. You understand? When I got to Eastmore Projects, I had to let Lord Cabell and them know I was up there. When I got to Davidson, Jamal, I'm here. Basically, I'm here. You know, we had to let everybody know where we was at. When I went to Medina, and I used to hate to go to Medina. I love Medina. But I couldn't stand going out there to Redwood Projects in the wintertime. It was cold as hell. I sit at the flag and came on. Growing up in the nation, it was a beautiful thing. I remember coming from 8th Avenue, up there on 8th Avenue fighting, having a little flag on, and these cats, they jumping on me, and the sister come out the subway station with this long gun, and back then we had the little ambulance, they used to call them little ambulance, remember that? The sister come out the subway station with the long gun on, and she saw the flag, and she went to work. We're gonna catch them, breaking them down. Woo! What's your name? Agent me. Okay. I like your style, sis. So, and I remember the first show in Peru. He told us we out there, you gotta pay. Agent me, the sister, my man, let them babies in. It's about save the baby. Save the baby. I remember going to Harlem Youth Action Corps. I remember being sent up there to join the cadet corps because we was learning military tactics. I remember out there in Morocco, Lee Jones had that. They tried to link the father with him and saying it was communism and stuff like that. These are the blessings that we got. I remember running away from school. I'm going to wrap it up. Running away from school. Running away from home because I didn't want to do this. I went to law school. Sabu was the caretaker there. Wake me up early in the morning. I got to sweep, mop, clean the window, they put the lessons on the board, and they go to school. I should have stayed home for this. But that was the beauty of growing up in the nation. After that, Arizona State University, after the penitentiary, first university. Sadly, but true. After the penitentiary, Arizona State University, SUNY Albany. I've been at Albany since 1979. We've been building up there. We put politicians in office. We got the young guard, we got Father Shine, we got guard, we put in office. That's what we do. Right now, the thing that hurts me is that the brother that intelligence got here. I just want to law school or something against the common person. Not last year, not even before last year, long time ago. How many representatives you got going at the But it hurts me that I spoke to a brother the last time I came down from the last parliament at one of these correctional facilities, and he didn't know a lot we have in terms of that. What? Where's that representation at? What are we doing? And the thing that's beautiful is that we've been walking into regions now. I like that. Because see, in my region, if I got a prison in my region, Cat Shack, Comstock, guess what? I'm going in there and I ain't got shit with the council to tell me I can't go in there. Because sometimes, you know, we say a lot of things, but words without action is the death of another generation. Let's keep on building. Let's be magnetic and not stagnant. Peace.
Peace. My family, peace. So we've got to keep this program going. And for those that will stand in the street next, our apologies, but we have to do this video. And there's time later on after the video, there will be nation's business. And if there's time after that, because we're serving dinner at 5:30. Right? There's time after that, we'll move it on. Next, we're showing the video, and after that, we're going into nation's business. Thank you. Good. It's like 10, 15 minutes.
Giving them the tools that would guide them on the path of righteousness and civilization. Born Clarence Edward Smith on Wednesday, February 22nd, 1928, in Danville, Virginia, during the time of Jim Crow racial segregation. He was the fifth son of Louis and Mary Smith. He was nicknamed Put as a baby, which stuck with him throughout his childhood. Although he lived in segregation, him and his family never minded not being amongst white folks and enjoyed life amongst their own people, having been raised with a down sense of values, convictions, wisdom, and awareness. In 1946, he came to New York to join his mother and his brother, who came to Harlem prior, looking for employment. Once in New York, the nickname Put that he was given as a child was mistaken as Puddin', and this became his new nickname. During the same year, he met Berlin Jowers, then would go on to have two sons in 1949 and 1951. He later married another woman named Dora and had more children. In 1950, he joined the United States Army and went to fight in the Korean War. He just missed being killed several times, making it out of that war as a decorated soldier with a high and prestigious award for his outstanding service record. During his time in Korea, his wife Dora had joined the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Upon his return from Korea, he joined Temple No. 7 in Harlem under Minister Malcolm X. Once in the temple, he was given the name Clarence 13X and began swiftly rising in the ranks of the Nation of Islam, going from elevator operator, then getting promoted to the position of lieutenant, teaching and training the fruit of Islam and martial arts, which he had picked up from Korea. In studying his lessons, he became very proficient in them. He developed a self-style of expressing his lessons, in which many called hypnotic due to his speaking style and southern drawl that was unique and specific to him. He was then promoted again to student minister. It is said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad took note of this fire minister and wanted to meet him. During this time, there was some turmoil in the temple, and although the lessons clearly stated the black man is God of the universe, and there is no mystery God, few ministers disagreed with Allah's literal interpretation of these teachings. He decided to leave the temple due to a few differences he had with the Muslims. During the same time period, Malcolm X, with his own set of differences and difficulties, also left the temple. When Allah left Temple No. 7 in 1963, a few other brothers that agreed with the reality of his teachings also left with him. He returned back to the streets of Harlem, where he would manifest and teach the youth in the streets who had not been reached or overlooked by the Muslims and other organizations of the time. The understanding that he gained from observing the lessons taught the original man is the supreme being, and there is no substance or force in the universe that does not exist within the black man, meaning that there is nothing greater than the black man. He realized that what he had learned applied to himself. He changed his name from Clarence 13X to Allah and began teaching those he came in contact with. And recognizing that most of the older folks were reluctant to change their ways, he focused on the young. Allah and his right-hand man, Justice, developed a system of mathematics as a foundation for his teachings, putting an emphasis on the order of knowledge and wisdom as opposed to wisdom knowledge that was taught in the temple. This system of supreme mathematics are 10 principles, 1 to 9, and a cipher, along with supreme alphabets, which are a system of principles that correspond to the 26 letters of the alphabet, giving the young tools to see things in a mathematical way, giving order to the days of their lives, teaching the young how to live righteously and their relationship to the universe, bringing his teachings to delinquent, disenfranchised youth that society had given up on. With these principles of supreme mathematics and alphabets, Allah taught the meaning of life, their relationship to the community as well as their relationship to the universe, giving them a sense of purpose in life. Allah focused on 9 young men that stood out in the Harlem neighborhood, empowering them with the knowledge of self, knowing that they would spread it to their peers. These first 9 young men came to be known as the firstborn of the 5% nation. Allah became known as the father because he was a father figure in a community full of broken homes, and he could see the farthest, furthering the education of those amongst him. His teachings empowered and motivated these young men to teach others, and soon his knowledge spread to other areas of New York. Harlem became known as Mecca. Brooklyn became known as Medina, with his own set of firstborns, getting sparked in December of 1964. Queens became known as the desert or the oasis. The Bronx became known as Piedmont, and places outside of New York also got names as the knowledge spread to those areas. In 1964, there was an assassination attempt on Allah, with him being shot with a high-powered rifle in a basement on 127th Street. Although he was hospitalized, the attempt on his life was not fatal, and he continued to teach. A few months later, in May of 1965, he was charged with disorderly conduct after a disturbance was brought about when 2 police officers attempted to break up the rally he was holding. During the arraignment in court, he told the judge he didn't need a lawyer because he is Allah and couldn't represent himself. A judge in Supreme Court ordered that he be placed in psychiatric custody in Bellevue Hospital due to him proclaiming to be God Allah. He continued to teach the young that came to see him while at Bellevue. They then transferred him to Matterhorn, separated him from his 5% until his 5% got word of where he was, and then they began traveling to visit him in Matterhorn. His nation continued to grow as his teaching spread throughout the state, country, and eventually the world. Those that locked him up called him crazy, yet as time passed, they granted him his own office and telephone to call whoever he wanted in a time before cell phones. The atmosphere of the time was one of great tension and turmoil between black and white communities. However, Allah taught his nation not to be pro-black or anti-white, yet to be pro-righteous and anti-devilishment, knowing that not every black man is your brother, the same way not every white man is your enemy, yet also teaching that the black man is God and have a responsibility to teach all human beings on the planet Earth. During this time, there was some confusion as to the difference between the 5% nation and the Nation of Islam, due to similarities in the names and some of the teachings. In 1967, Allah instructed his 5% to change their names from Muslim names to draw their names from the supreme mathematics and alphabets. Allah was very particular at distinguishing his nation from Muslims. He also taught the sisters that the earth is the black woman's twin in nature. Thus the 5% women are called the earth. The black woman is symbolic to the earth in many ways, and the earth is the only planet in our solar system that is capable of reproducing life. An emphasis on teaching the babies is also a core part of the teachings of Allah and its 5%, expressing that the babies are the greatest and the future of our nation. In 1967, they released Allah from Babylon and signed his name upon his release as Allah, the same name they called him crazy for using. Upon his release in 1967, the 5% nation held its first universal parliament in Mount Morris Park to welcome him home. He spoke to his growing nation at the first universal parliament, thanking and acknowledging his 5%ers for being strong and continuing to grow in his absence. The mayor of the time, John V. Lindsay, took note of the great work Allah was doing and decided to develop a task force dedicated to building ties with community leaders, with Allah being top priority. Other politicians want to build ties with Allah as well. According to a notable 5%er named God Supreme, who was there sometime in 1967, Allah called the Universal Parliament and invited a few politicians and other community leaders to speak at this parliament. Notable figures like Mayor Lindsay and his assistant Barry Gallagher, Allah had these politicians and community leaders speak and tell the 5% what they had to offer. The mayor gave Allah the Street Academy with a 99-year lease, which opened early that summer of 1967 at 2122 7th Avenue, where it remains to this day. In addition, the mayor gave bus rides and trips to young 5%ers, as well as grants for those who completed Harlem Prep, an educational program to help young adults prepare for college. Pins of the 5% flag were printed and given out, and a host of other things that the mayor's assistant made sure was taken care of and done right. Governor Rockefeller made sure that many of those that paid their debt to society were let go from the penal system. It is said that Mayor Lindsay went into the halls of government advocating for the teachings of Allah and spoke of the great work he was doing in the community. Allah made him honorary 5%ers and gave him the flag. On April 4, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, sending shock and grief throughout the black communities of America. Allah and his 5% having foresight that 85% of the people will react violently without any consideration of who, what, where, or how to execute their desire for justice. With Allah's teaching, the 5% moved through the crowds of Harlem, reinforcing peace, helping to avert a riot which would have left the community of Harlem in shambles. Allah was recognized, praised, and received media attention for his participation in maintaining order and peace. He continued to receive recognition and praise from Mayor John V. Lindsay for the outstanding job he was doing in providing motivation, educational, and vocational growth, and with the youth of the community. On Friday, June 13, 1969, at the age of 41, Allah was gunned down, shot 7 times in the elevator of Martin Luther King Towers on 112th Street in Harlem. Several of his 5%ers rushed down to the scene of the crime where their father was stricken. On Saturday, June 14, Mayor Lindsay and his aide, Barry Gallagher, met with the guards at the Street Academy, expressing their sorrow and grief for what had happened to Allah. The guards spoke about the reason that they loved Allah so much and pledged to continue his work. The funeral was held on Monday afternoon at Unity Funeral Chapel on 8th Avenue and 126th Street. It was a massive event as Harlem bid farewell to the man they affectionately called Puddin'. Although his physical body may have expired, his teachings live on. A period of grief permeated through the 5% nation until 1971, when a group of 5%ers put together an annual event called the Show and Prove in commemoration of Allah and his teachings. To this day, the event takes place every year during the second weekend in June to show and prove Allah lives. His legacy is in his teachings, and the nation that continues to teach his teachings and elevate the lives of those that come in contact with it. It has become a global phenomenon, in part due to hip-hop artists that have laced their music with his teachings. Please to Allah and his nation 5%ers for the massive contribution to our history of black.
Yeah!